Welcome to Word, Paragraph, and Page Glue. In this lesson, you'll learn how to avoid awkward page breaks between or within paragraphs, get tips on how and when to use keep with next, keep lines together, and page break before features to control how lines and paragraphs connect. Also discover how and when to use non-breaking spaces. Understanding how to use these flexible features will help you avoid formatting nightmares. We'll cover features which are available for Microsoft Word for Windows or Mac.
Hi, and welcome. My name is Ivy Gray from WordRake, and I'm with Baron Henley from Infinity Consulting. And today we are talking about Word, Paragraph, and Page Glue. It will help you with your legal practice, and let's go with Baron the expert. Take it away, Baron.
Okay, hi everyone. So this is a feature of Word. I call it paragraph glue. That's not really what it's called. It's called keep with next and keep lines together, but it is effectively glue for your paragraphs. So there's two kinds of glue, and these are features that are incredibly important. And I literally use them in almost every single document I draft, and yet there is no button for any of them on any ribbon in Word. So, welcome to Word. They hide a lot of important tools, and this is one of the important tools they hide. So it's easier to just show you what I'm talking about rather than just verbally explain it. So this document illustrates one of the first problems. This is super common. I'm sure you've seen this before. What is this? It's an awkward page break. I don't want 3.3 sitting at the bottom of page 2. I want it at the top of page 3. Unfortunately, most people are going to come up here and say enter, enter, and get it to line up like that. And if that's what you're doing, please don't ever do that again, because what you're doing is creating a gap in your document that is likely to revisit you depending on how the document's being edited. So for example, if this paragraph got longer while editing and trickled over to the next page, now I've got this gap I need to remove. Even worse, here's an alternative, even worse is to put your cursor in front of this and add a page break. Does it line up? Yes, but it's temporary. And what happens then if this gets a little bit longer and trickles over to page 3, now you've got an entire blank page in the middle of your document, which of course is even harder to fix. So instead, wouldn't it be cool if you could just glue stuff together and not worry about it? Yes, therefore that's a feature. Again, there's no button for it, but this is what you do. And I just want to say one quick thing about people that have experience with WordPerfect. WordPerfect has a similar feature called Block Protect. And in WordPerfect, you would select these two paragraphs, 3.3 and A, and then you would say format, keep paragraphs together, block protect. And it would literally glue together 3.3 and A. Word doesn't do it like that. You do not select the two paragraphs you want to glue together. Instead, you only right-click the paragraph that you want to glue to something else. You don't care what comes next. The way this works in Word is you're telling 3.3, stick to the next thing, whatever that happens to be. It's not a specific glue, which is better, actually. So you got to right-click that paragraph, and then you go down to paragraph. And then you're going to switch tabs up here at the top, and you're going to flip over to line and page breaks. And your checkbox that you want is this one right here, keep with next. And that is going to obviously keep this paragraph with the next paragraph. If I click OK, now it's going to pull those paragraphs together, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, what comes next. If I delete this A, it'll start paying attention to the new A. So it's a little better because it's not affecting more than one thing. So if this becomes a bigger paragraph up here, now it's a non-issue. Okay, so that is the first type of glue. I want to adhere a paragraph to another paragraph. Now, a second type of glue would be when you want to hold the lines of a paragraph together. In this case, E is only 3.5 lines. It's chopped right in the middle by a natural page break. I don't necessarily want to glue it to F. I just want to hold it together. And there are lots of times when you want to do that. For example, if you've ever dropped a really long footnote into a Word document, Word will occasionally decide to split your footnote across multiple pages. And I've met exactly 0 people ever who wanted to do that. So I've been emailed lots of documents and like, why is it doing this in my footnotes? What I'm about to show you will solve that problem. And then furthermore, if you did something like you dropped in an acknowledgement, just as another example, you obviously wouldn't want a page break in the middle of this paragraph. So I'd want to glue this to the paragraph. I want this paragraph to hold itself together. And I want it to glue it to the notary signature line below. So here's how you do that. Right-click the paragraph whose lines you want to hold together. Choose paragraph again from the menu. And we're going to check the box just below the last one we did, which is keep lines together. And if I click OK, now E is not stuck to F, but will not allow a page break to occur in the middle of it. So these are the kinds of features. When we teach classes on these subjects, we talk a lot about if you set up your document right in the first place, then all these random formatting glitches you have to figure out how to fix don't occur in the first place. And this is a prime example of that. If I'm working through this document, let's say I'm drafting this. Look at F. What is it? 5 words. Would you ever want a page break between F and 1? No. Is it a problem right now? No. But could it be? Of course it could be. I don't know how this is going to look when we're all done editing. So your best course of action is to right-click that and throw some glue on it so it's never an issue. The objective being, I'm heading off the formatting glitches before they happen to me. Right now.
I'd interject that a lot of those things that create nightmares when you're trying to get something filed or you're trying to close a deal, they come from formatting errors that you ignored on the front end when things seemed okay. And then suddenly there are weird page breaks or things aren't stuck together on the back end. So learning to do this now will mean that you don't have all-nighters because of formatting, and you don't drive your paralegal and secretary nuts with your anger over these things going wrong. So learning to do it now is part of your duty of technology competence, and it will help you have happier employees and will actually help you stick together with your family too.
Yes, it reduces your stress, weirdly. This is another example, like this is not a problem right now, but I'm only 2 lines away from that being a problem. So I'd be right-clicking that and throwing some glue on it. Now, I have one more thing that's somewhat related. It's in the same spot here. And that is how to do a page break. There's 2 ways to do a page break. Surprisingly, most people know of the first way, which is to click in front of what you want a page break before, click layout, breaks, and page break. The speed key for that is Control-Enter. And I believe that's the same speed key in WordPerfect. And I find most people just have been hitting Control-Enter since forever, and they didn't even know there was an option for it under a button. But in any event, the problem with the standard page break is if I turn on my Show Hide button on the home ribbon, this little paragraph mark guy right here, this allows you to see non-printing characters. So as you can see, that page break is floating there. The problem with page breaks that float is that they can get pushed to the next page by themselves, as that just happened. So now I end up with this whole blank page in the middle of my document, and I've got to go find that page break and get rid of it, even though it served my purposes at one point. A better approach is to right-click the paragraph that you want to start at the top of a new page, choose paragraph again, and choose page break before. And what's nice about this is it achieves the same objective. You still get whatever you are in starts at the top of a new page, but there's no floater below the last paragraph where you inserted it. So I'll be able to go all the way down to the very last line of this page without ending up with a random page break in the middle. Okay, last thing about this. A tech support issue that arises from this paragraph glue, and I'm just going to create the problem and then show you how to fix it, is, and you may have seen this before, I'm working on a document and there's just this random blank spot at the bottom of the page. And I turn on Show Hide and there's no page break and there's no hard returns, and nothing you do can get these paragraphs to come back up here, okay? That is almost always a problem of too much glue. So a little glue is good, more glue, not good. And what happened here was I glued together a bunch of paragraphs, so many that the only place could fit them was on top of the next page, which creates the gap. Okay, so here's how you can identify that you've stepped in glue and tracked it all over the place. You turn on your Show Hide button on the home ribbon, and these little squares out here in the margin are simply visual evidence of some type of glue being applied to those paragraphs. So if this happens to you and you get this rando blank spot, then what you want to do is go down to the next page, turn on Show Hide, select all the paragraphs that have the little squares next to them, right-click, paragraph, remove the glue, let the document readjust itself, and then surgically apply the glue only to where you need it. And then finally, when you have things like signature lines and acknowledgments and all that kind of stuff, you can use both keep with next and keep lines together simultaneously on the same paragraph. In other words, I can hold this paragraph together and glue it to E. So if you select your acknowledgement and use keep with next, keep lines together and do the same thing for your signature blocks, that's another thing you don't have to waste time to go look at to see if you've got some awkward page break on your signature page, because it simply can't happen. And you can also not select certain lines to create a potential breakpoint. So, and that's another thing, depending on the layout of your document, it may be okay that certain of it is on a page by itself, but you just want to make sure that certain units move together. And you can just skip a couple of lines, not put the paragraph glue on them, and then glue together the other ones and save yourself all kinds of irritation, awkward page breaks, and stress with your Word documents. Ivy?
Yes. So let's make sure that we talk about non-breaking spaces and hyphen control. Those are two areas where lawyers and paralegals and secretaries, anyone working at a firm, can get caught up and a little stuck with their documents. So let's talk about those with our word, page, and paragraph glue.
Okay, so let's open up a document and illustrate what we're talking about. Let's say, first of all, that I want to replace the word section with the section symbol. So I've got a speed key for that. Let me try the right speed key. There we go. Or you could go insert symbol. And if you go down to more symbols and you go to the normal text at the top, this is the normal text is the font. It's not really a font, but it's a set of symbols where almost everything you would need for a legal document is contained, including the section symbol here and various currency symbols and fractions and degrees and squared and cubed, etc. Anyway, however you decide to get it in there, this is the first little problem that you might run into. I don't want a line break or page break to occur between the section symbol and 2117.06. Right now, that could very well occur. So if I add text here, you're going to see eventually I'm going to end up with that. That's what I'm trying to avoid, this section symbol sitting here by itself. So what you do to avoid that is you get rid of the space, the regular space, and you replace it with a non-breaking space. And that is, and there's no button for this, of course, because it's useful. It's Control-Shift-Space-Bar. Okay, this is your speed key for a non-breaking space. Control-Shift-Space-Bar.
I'll jump in there too. Yeah. The Blue Book requires that you have a space between the section symbol and the number. So you can't avoid the problem simply by deleting the space. And the answer to that would be using the non-breaking space. For me, because I use the section symbol so frequently, I actually have created an autocorrect for it where I type parentheses, S parentheses, and it turns everything into a section symbol. And then at the end of my document, I Control F and I replace everything with the section symbol with a space to section symbol and a non-breaking space. So I do it all at once and my problem is solved. So even if I forgot, I have the problem solved on the back end.
Good, that's a good tip. The non-breaking hyphen is Control-Shift-Hyphen. So it's Control-Shift-Space or Control-Shift-Hyphen. So if I take this out and put in a non-breaking hyphen, they look the same, right? You can't tell. But now if I added random text to the front of this, you're going to see that the whole thing, see that? The section symbol 2117.06, it all moved to the next line together. And that was the objective. So the same thing can be done here. Now, one little quick thing. There is a way you can tell if there's a non-breaking space or hyphen involved in your document if, again, you click on the home ribbon and you click on the show hide button. And as you will see when I zoom in here, a non-breaking space looks like a degree symbol rather than a dot. Now, again, if I turn off show hide, right, it's just a blank space. And if you see this, I'm going to put a regular hyphen right next to this. As you can see, a regular hyphen is thinner and, well, it's not as wide and it's thicker than the non-breaking hyphen that's right next to it. Now, it doesn't matter if I have show hide turned on or not. This will print exactly like the one next to it. but you can tell visually that you've got non-breaking hyphens involved if you have your show hide button turned on. So these are good for proper names, dates, case numbers, social security numbers, tax ID numbers, anything that you would want to reasonably hold together on a page or a line, right? Because this will also prevent, if I put a non-breaking hyphen in there, it will also prevent a page break from occurring there, which it otherwise could break. Comments, thoughts, Ivy?
So you also would want to use those for ranges, and the Blue Book suggests that you don't include spaces on either side of ranges and you keep those numbers together. So keep that in mind when you are referencing a case or a specific number or page, a range of pages in your citations. And that's a great place to use it.
Okay.
All right. So I think those are some of our top things that we need for our word paragraph and page glue. And they're often the little formatting tips that will help you save untold frustration on the back end and keep your documents together, looking good and making sense. All right. Thanks, Baron.
Yeah, thank you.
This video was created by Ivy Gray from WordRake and Baron Henley from Affinity Consulting, who both trained as lawyers and are now Microsoft Word and Outlook enthusiasts and productivity experts. This video is part of a series. To sign up to receive tech tips and training videos via email, please visit wordrake.com/tech-tips. Interrupting a great argument or an important contractual provision with awkward line, paragraph, or page breaks can introduce confusion and dilute your message. Thoughtful, cohesive writing requires strategically keeping information together, which you can do through technology. But what's better than strategic use of document space? Better use of words. Let WordRake jumpstart your editing process, streamline your sentences, and cut the clutter. It's editing software for Microsoft Word and Outlook on Windows or Microsoft Word only in Mac. If you'd like to learn more, sign up to receive tech tips and training videos at wordrake.com/tech-tips. When you're ready to take your work to the next level, try WordRake. WordRake is clear and concise editing software that will improve your writing while respecting legally operative phrases and key legal content. It's a finely tuned collaborator that will help you satisfy clients, win more business, and do more high-value work. WordRake works in Microsoft Word and Outlook. It goes beyond Microsoft's built-in spelling and grammar checkers to help you reduce legalese and wordy writing. It uses complex, patented algorithms to find useless words, dull phrases, weak lead-ins, cliches, and high-level grammatical problems, then offers suggested edits in-line. WordRake's document will look just like a smart colleague with an English degree has revised your work using track changes. In 3 simple steps, you'll have a better document or email. Try it today at wordrake.com/trial.